Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Astrology with Jeffrey Bryan. Today's episode is going to be on the full moon coming up on October 20th. So let's just dive right in. So here we have the full moon, October 20th, 2021. And I ran this chart in Greenwich Mean Time. So no matter where you live, you'll have to go and find the time zone from Greenwich Mean Time so you can understand what time period it will impact you. So the moon moves exactly, opposes the sun exactly at 2:30 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time on Wednesday. So what does that mean? So this is the full moon. So whenever we have the new moon is a conjunction with the sun, and then when it runs around and when we get to the opposition, we have a full moon. I always remember this story from Maharishi, who was an enlightened master. He used to tell everyone to stay inside during a full moon because lots can happen. And so here we have one of those opportunities that I believe he'd be talking about, because the moon is down here in Aries. So we know Aries is an initiator. It's a cardinal fire sign. It wants to get things going. And it's going to make the moon kind of aggressive or angered. The moon is very emotional. And so being in this cardinal fire sign, it may be an instigator or a fighter, or somebody that might have a sharp tongue. The key word for 27 degrees 12 minutes of Aries is propaganda. It's not usually like the propaganda that we've been led to believe by news media and other kinds of propaganda that we've learned throughout history. But it's a propaganda of sharing with others what you've learned, and it's more like being an activist or somebody that believes in wholeheartedly in the truth that they want to coalesce people together and talk about what they know, share with others what they've learned. So be like Martin Luther King speaking to groups of people. And we're seeing that. I mean, I saw on social media and stuff around this last weekend, people all around cities doing the same thing, standing on platforms and speaking to large groups of people. That's what this moon is all about. It's about activism, propaganda, sharing with others what you've learned. So maybe you're speaking on the propaganda that's been fed to you, and so you're speaking truth. But opposing that is this conjunction of the Mars and the sun. Now, earlier in the day, the moon will have, or even like a few hours before, the moon would have been exact conjunction with Mars, the god of war, which rules Aries. It's its home sign. So he's away from home now, but both these signs, the sun and Aries, the sun and Mars are in Libra, and they're both happy there. This is not like a position where they're not comfortable, because they're both fire signs. The sun is, ruled by Leo, and like I just said, Mars is ruled by Aries. Both fire signs, cardinal fire and fixed fire, come together in this area of Libra. Now, Libra, a lot of people talk, it's judgment. It's like this balancing out. Well, sometimes the scale's tipped. I don't look at this as so much as people being balanced or in harmony. I look at this sign as more of a judgment sign, where they're judging what they want to do and who they want to interact with and who they want to talk to or what group to be part of, or this is kind of what judgment is. So who are my friends going to be? So the so but it's opposing the full moon. So why is this opposing the full moon? Well, the key word for this, for 20 degrees to 29 degrees 59 minutes of this sign of Libra, the keyword is expiation. Expiation is friends and open enemies, and but they have a peculiar fatality associated with this. So whatever's going to happen in this sign of judgment, there's going to be a peculiar fatality associated with some form of judgment in the realm of these fiery planets. And this sign are for people. So the sun is shining here. So we've got these people, and it's got Mars actualizing this ego or this dominance of the sun's rays in this judgmental way. And it's these people that use the brilliance of their minds to want to enslave their fellow humans, to enslave all of us, or it could be a boss or a husband or a wife, or they want to enslave their child. It could be any of these things in your personal life, all the way up to the political global life, this enslavement of a human being. Okay. But the one thing is they want to keep them in poverty and ignorance, whereby they profit from these people that they've held in this poverty and ignorance. So they want to, this is probably the most harshest part or decanate, or the last 10 degrees of Libra that there is. And so this is something we have to consider with all these people speaking out. They're speaking out against these people, the people trying to enslave us. And that's where the sun is shining. And they're battling back. They're at odds. They're opposition. See, so they're not a cohesive group. They're disharmony. So we'll find more about this when the moon moves into the 3/4 phase and it enters a square back to this. But hopefully we'll see where the moon is by then, or where the sun is by then. So then what good news do we have coming from this, or do we have more bad news? Well, the good news that we do have, I'll give the good news first, is this beautiful trine from Jupiter. Now the sun's already passed Jupiter a little bit. So Jupiter, the sun and Jupiter have already had their talk, but they're still within the orb of influence. So they're still, doing their thing, but Jupiter's direct. So the retrograde portion of this scenario has pretty much begun to end, and all these retrograde planets that we've had will end by the end of this year. And then I think the last planet to go direct is Uranus. I think it's on January 18th of next year, and then we'll have all explosion of motion going. But anyway, Jupiter is the planet of justice. He's the guru, the sage, and the wise one. And he wants what's best for us. He wants abundance, optimism, growth, more. And he's in a trine to this. So we have to ask who hopefully Jupiter is helping. So that's where he's in Aquarius. Aquarius is in a social sign. It's communication. It's Jupiter's in fixed air here. So he's in this expansion of this communication sign. It's usually ruled by Uranus over here in Taurus. So we'll have to look at that. But Jupiter's keyword is very interesting. It's very, very interesting because it's in repression. And so we would think that that makes him weak because, when we're in a repressed state, it's like we're in this like sunken state. But we have the biggest, baddest planet there is, Jupiter, planet of optimism, joy, abundance. There's always more out of life to live. In repression. And it's not about repression. It's about becoming unrepressed. And it's in the sign of the people and of communication. So he's trining this house, this Mars in Libra. Okay. So this action of the people that are trying to, hold us back and not let us speak what we want to say. Now, this isn't just on a global collective level. It's also on an independent individual level, like your boss not letting you speak up or your significant other not listening to you or speaking up. There's trying to be justice on all fronts, or companies mandating certain rules and guidelines and different things that aren't for the people. Maybe people think they're for the people, and maybe they're fighting for even more of that. So, but this is about the truth, about propaganda. Who the people are fired up about what they're learning, what they've learned, what they've come to know. And later, this will reach Uranus. The moon will reach Uranus, and Uranus is the planet of enlightenment, and cosmic consciousness. And he wants to, he's all about freedom and liberation. And he's also the planet that rules technology and like the social media and big tech and all of that. So we'll have to make a video when we have that conjunction, which will be very soon. So some interesting other tidbits here is Saturn trines the future. The future is where we want to be headed, where we want to go. So the past would be over here on this side of the line for everybody. So this is the ascendant. But since this isn't like a typical chart, I'm not going by like how the houses run or anything. This is just the planetary bodies. So we're not going by the ascendant descendant on this particular chart. We're just saying that Saturn is trining the node at 3 degrees, and the keyword is intuition. So Gemini rules the concrete, Mercury usually rules the concrete practical mind, or he does rule the concrete practical mind. Gemini is mutable air. So it doesn't attach or hold on to any ideas. It's free to think. It likes philosophy. It likes truth. It likes, it's always trying to find like this fulfillment of ideas to satisfy it. But intuition, as the key word, intuition comes from the Latin, which means to be one with God. And so it's saying, get in tunement with your connection to your intuition. Instead of just trying to mentally piece this together, use your intuition before you act. Use your inner guidance. with the rational thinking mind. So it's like this connection where you have this inner knowing, hey, I don't want to go into this, I don't want to fight, I want to be peaceful about this, or I need to take another route. I'm not going to follow the crowd. I'm going to go this way. So Saturn is in a trine, which is the best aspect possible. So we're in harmony here with intuition. And Saturn's in originality and creativity, which is these people, Saturn wants to follow its own ideas, it's interested in education, and it's in this, area of Aquarius, which is about the people, social groups, friendships, groups, the collective, of humanity is what Aquarius is all about. And it's about usually higher ideas because it's ruled by Uranus. So Saturn also, one thing about Saturn is he knows how to handle this decanate alone, knows how to handle men and put them in their place. But what I want you to understand is Saturn is the densest, the densest energy. It's the hardest karma. It's rules, the law, boundaries, and it's a threshold. It won't let you cross it. And he's in harmony with the future. That's positive. The positiveness of the future. I'm not going to count this aspect because this isn't the chart. So we're just going to say, let's see. And he's also in a trine to Mercury. So Mercury, the concrete, practical mind, rules Gemini, and he also rules Virgo. So, we've got this wonderful trine going from Saturn, rules, laws, and boundaries, to this area of Libra. So also we've got this Libra sign that has that's ruled by Venus, and Venus is all about beauty, attraction, friendships, vibration. Venus is about money. But we have Gemini in 10 degrees 28 minutes, and the key word for that is independence. So I wanted to read these keywords for you guys tonight because independence, coming from the mind, this is the future. That's where Gemini is, and that's what's ruling this. And so we disposit, we go to Mercury here. Independence finds opposition to their views, which they feel they need to slay or rebel against. Mercury wants to rebel against the restrictions that have been imposed upon it. And usually, or always, Saturn is those restrictions, and he's trining it. So he's probably going to be saying, okay, I'm going to help these people rebel against the restrictions, because this is about achieving independence for yourself, for your individual freedom, or independence in a situation you are with. Like I say, in your own life, think about if you're trapped, or whatever kind of independence, or you're in a case at court, or a bad family situation, or you can't, go visit somebody in the hospital or something. You're trying to achieve freedom and independence in that regard. And Saturn's wanting to follow its own ideas. And so that's where we come back to the moon. The moon is those people that are standing up, talking about where we need to be going and what's happening to us, and why we need to be fighting, and not fighting in a bad way, but like rebelling against the restrictions that have been imposed upon you in whatever form of what's going on in your life. Now, there's always going to be people that are for it. So, here we have Saturn in a semi, excuse me, a semi square to Neptune. Neptune's in its strongest sign, and it's in the third or spiritual decanate of Pisces, and he's retrograde. So he's still coming back to process and collect the information that he wants. Now, Neptune is the highest vibrational frequency, and Saturn is the lowest vibrational frequency. And so what you'll find in frequencies is Saturn's in the air in this case, but usually you'll find that the physical earth is the densest and the spiritual world is the most high frequency. And so what's controlling what here? Well, the higher vibrational frequency, the lower vibrational frequency of Saturn can't handle or deal with that, and it has to kind of hide. So it would bury itself in the dirt, because if that frequency was too loud, it wouldn't be able to handle it. It would freak out. So on a personal level, it would be like being exposed to like a high frequency or a high sound or like electricity. The nervous system freaks out. If it's exposed to it too long, it can't handle it. So we have this semi-square going on between these two. And this is the third, like I said, the third or spiritual decanate of Pisces. Why is that significant, by the way? Why is that significant? It's significant because that's the last 10 degrees of the entire zodiac. So this is a position where you would hope that other decanates and other signs would have cleaned up the mess or cleaned up what's been going on. And here we have the most spiritual planet coming in. And Neptune's a planet of channeling. It's mediumistic. Artists have a lot of channeling, musicians have a lot of channeling, and mediums that connect with people that have crossed over. They're mediumistic. They've got this quality about them that they're in tune with that spirit side of life. And so in this case, Neptune is about to, when it crosses over eventually into the next phase, it's the end of a cycle, because it's moving back into Aries, which starts up and regenerates anew. It's the new impetus of a new wheel, sort of a new cycle, we could say, in astrology. And so the importance of this aspect is that it's called vicissitudes. And vicissitudes is about recapitulating things in our lives, events or conditions we expected from other decanates, like I said. And it's an adaptable, likable sign, but it requires excitement and change. And this decanate loves change. And we've got change coming from Neptune, which is bizarreness. It's illusion, delusion, confusion, and in my astrology, Neptune represents even the news. And so we've had bizarre. Neptune is in its strongest sign, and it's been in this decanate just for a little while, but it's been in other aspects, and it's been confusing everyone. And Saturn wants rules and boundaries, and it's in a small conflict. This is a semi-square. So it's in this little kind of a battle with what's going on. And I think probably because Neptune's not ready yet. Neptune's retrograde and Saturn's now moved direct. So we're seeing that, the highest frequency you can call source, the creator, God, whatever you want to call it, the highest principle. When we meditate, we go to the source. That would be Neptunian energy, which everything comes from. And it's not going to let little Saturn, dictate to it what the rules are going to be to the game yet, because this is the person that holds the collective mind, the collective energy, the collective information. It's the frequency of consciousness itself, and nothing dictates the frequency of consciousness itself except the source, or the divine mind. The divine mind is way more expansive and knowledgeable than this little rational mind right here. And Saturn is not going to is trying to block that. It's not happy with the situations going on. So we'll see what happens with that. Now, I'm not going to count this opposition because this isn't a regular chart. So we're just going to go with that for right now. And he's not making any other aspects. We'll finish up here with the this in conjunction from Venus to Uranus. Venus has already passed it by 1 degree. So, Venus moves pretty fast. So this isn't going to be this is a temporary aspect. So Venus is about likes, dislikes, and attraction, repulsion. It's got this Venusian beauty, artistic quality. It likes money, it likes things, and it's in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is about, bigger and brighter things. It's about goals and opportunity. What kind of goals and opportunity are we looking at? Well, the key word is exploration. It's wanting to go out there and explore new fields of endeavor. This Venus is, Venus is a feminine quality. And she's wanting to go out and explore more fields of endeavor on the mental, spiritual, and physical plane. All planes she's interested in this spot. So people that usually have their sun in this position have alert minds. They're very they need to have a definite work to accomplish. So what work is Venus wanting to accomplish in this? She's really wanting, if we do the dispositor on her, we would go to Jupiter, which would be her field endeavor would be becoming unrepressed. And it's interesting because if we disposit from that, we go to Uranus, and Uranus is in this negative aspect, crisis in action. So we've got these planets, in Taurus. Taurus is ruled by Venus. So we've got Uranus in a bad aspect here in her sign. She's not home, and she's wanting to search out information on the spiritual, mental, and physical planes about repression and how we can become unrepressed, because of Jupiter is about being unrepressed. And we had Jupiter trining this whole situation we spoke about earlier, about the people controlling and swaying the minds of others, and so to take there and use them for basically to make them profit, whereby we just become useless eaters or useless workers, that they all profit because they believe that they are the boss or the king or whoever in our life. And Uranus, why is Uranus over here opposing or in conjunction to this? Well, he's in the keyword struggle. Struggle is the conflict between mental and physical forces, and they attack with a very like mental force, uh, but they really cause obstacles to this sign causes obstacles to crumble, because we're in the decanate of causing obstacles to crumble. We have the enlightened thinker, the technology. So, and we're on fixed earth. So what technological advancement or what kind of enlightenment about what's going on is Uranus doing that Venus and him aren't going through? Well, I'll tell you, the secret to a lot of this isn't like horrible stuff. It's all about healing. So when we see these negative aspects, like a square going on here, Pluto, a square, we have an in conjunction, we have a semi-square. It's about healing and coming together and healing something of ourselves. So we go into these tension points, or these oppositions where we don't agree. And it's all about learning and growing. And it's all about the self. As each self learns and grows, that means each person in the collective consciousness on the whole planet grows as one as well. And that's where we're at. And so that's why I believe Neptune hasn't made its move. Neptune hasn't made its move because he's retrograde. He's waiting on some more things to come out, more time, because I think everyone knows this, but the creator of the source, whatever we want to call it, doesn't operate on man-made time. We want it to. We want it to operate like now. We want things to happen now, but it doesn't happen that way. And then later on, we can say, oh my God, I had to go through that to understand it. I had to go through that experience to get there. And so that's why Uranus is enlightening this Venus, but she's not liking what she's hearing about what's going on, what's happening. Because in Pluto here, Pluto is behind the scenes, it's underground. He's evolution. He's the Kundalini is the evolutionary life force within us. So if you don't know what that is, it's a dormant, like cosmic fire that lays dormant at the base of your spine. And when we do spiritual practice or meditation, it ignites and takes us to these higher levels of consciousness that we talk about with the transcendent planets of Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. So he's hidden. He's beneath the surface. Some people believe he's like this, the god of Hades, or, this lord of the underworld. Well, we say that because he's hidden, he's underground, he's unseen. He's like the mystery that needs to be unfolded with work. And what he does when he gets inside of something is he knocks it down. So if he's in a psychological area of your chart, he's in the earth right now, but I'll give you the psychological. He'll come in and have to mentally change the structure of the way you think in order to change you. That's the process of transformation. And it can be painful and disruptive. On Earth, it would be like having to knock down a building with a big wrecking ball to build some new structure. Well, this is in Capricorn. Capricorn's physical Earth. He's having to rebuild the structure of the Earth. And this could be in government. It could be in local governments, big governments, the whole world governments. It can be organizations, big companies, organizations that need to be taken down and rebuilt back up. They're not working. There needs to be something new, and he's exposed this already. So Pluto's already exposed. So now, and he's in idealism. Idealism is about building a new, better and new ideal society. So that's what Pluto is up to on the Earth plane right now. And in each individual's chart, they would have to look and see where Pluto is in their chart. But he's in Capricorn in everyone's chart at 24 degrees. And you'd have to look and see if you got a personal reading, you could look at your natal chart and see what he's aspecting, to see what part of idealism he's working on in your life, and see if, really what he's digging up from under the surface, to bring about these higher states or better states. And he's squaring what we talked about here, these two planets in expiation. The sun's already passed, so we've already had his little talking to. But Mars, action, ambition, fighting, God of War, in that expiation decan where we're talking about judgment, they're not having a good talk. They're not in accordance with what they're wanting to agree upon. And so, this is the last, every time a planet comes into a conjunction, they set a new intention and then they move on. So this is the last square coming back to Pluto. So they set the intention back whenever that time was, and now they're coming back and he's squaring the last square. So it's like the last part of the piece of their agenda, their first intention, since their last talk at like the opposition and the inconjunct. Now we're at the final square. So hopefully that's good news, that this is going to work out for the people with that aspect happening there. I mean, I could go on and on, but I think you guys got an idea of what this moon is bringing. It's bringing activism and, fighting for individual and as well as, your own self in your own life, fighting for your own beliefs, your own self, your own whatever you believe. And be careful, because Aries, the full moon is in Aries, which can spark anger, quick cardinal fire, quick action. We got to watch out for that. So now that you're conscious of that and you see it happening, try to step back if you can, if you get in that state. Sometimes it's impossible because just our animal, our feelings get all, takes over our body like an animalistic, where we go, and we can't stop. So maybe have a friend with you that knows how to stop or some guidance. But it's okay to speak up and out, is what this moon's about. Like it needs to happen collectively. This is collectively. So I hope you enjoyed this video and got a lot from it. If you did, please share, like, and subscribe, and give it a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.